Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
What's up, Topicocalypse and Pop Culture Cosmos fans? I am here with a review of a well-loved anime series that I recently went back and watched. So without further ado, here is my review of Episode 1 of The Big O, Roger the Negotiator. I've been taking some time lately to go back and watch the anime series I grew up with. As a novel writer, going back to my inspirations has been the key to reawakening my creativity, especially in these hectic times, where just stepping out your front door is like going on a walk with sorrow and depression. So that being said, the noir-like world of the Big O has been a welcome distraction from the strange and terrible things going on in our society. Turning on the box set Blu-ray instead of the news has proven to be the best thing that I have done in weeks. For those of you who didn't happen to catch the masterpiece that is The Big O back when it premiered on Cartoon Network's Toonami in the early 2000s, The Big O is an anime series created by Keiichi Sato and directed by Kazuyoshi Katayama for Sunrise. I might have pronounced those wrong. If I did, I apologize. It was created as a tribute to Japanese and Western shows from the 1960s and 1970s, which is why it's presented in the same noir style popularized by films such as Taxi Driver and The Untouchables, The Godfather, so on and so forth. Though instead of gang violence and revenge, it mixes a detective story with mech action. Episode 1 introduces Paradigm City's top negotiator, Roger Smith, who has been hired to negotiate the retrieval of R. Dorothy Wainwright, the kidnapped daughter of the eccentric and mad scientist Miguel Saldano. After getting Dorothy back, Roger finds out that the Dorothy he retrieved isn't actually the real Dorothy. She's an android. So what happened to the real Dorothy is something we don't find out until later, so I won't spoil that for you. Knowing he'd been deceived, Roger used a device on his watch to recall the suitcase full of money from the kidnappers. So what happens is the suitcase shoots up out of the car and has rockets coming out of the back, and it flies back towards Roger. So the kidnappers actually start shooting at it as it's flying back, causing it to open in the air and spill all the money all over Paradigm City. Upon returning home, Roger finds out that he has a lady guest. Thinking it's an attractive client, he tries to make a smooth impression, only to find out that it's the same R. Dorothy Wainwright he rescued earlier. So keep in mind, Roger is basically like a Bruce Wayne, except instead of putting on a Batman suit, he drives a giant robot called the Big O, or it's known as a Megaduce. So Dorothy offers him a job to protect her, which leads him to a warehouse where something big was built. So in a room suspended near the top of the warehouse, Roger finds Saldano slowly dying. He's been shot, apparently. There's blood all over the glass. In his last breath, he says something to Roger about a nightingale. So as Saldano takes his last breath, Roger realizes they've fallen into a trap. The kidnappers, led by a man named Beck, were waiting to ambush them. Roger and Dorothy managed to defeat them using a diversionary tactic, which turns out to be Dorothy, and a missile fired out of Roger's car. But while they're brawling, something much bigger is happening downtown. So Beck's men were distracting Roger while Beck himself went downtown to do something. So it turns out that the Dorothy that Roger was hired to get back is a giant Megaduce, basically a mech suit, called Dorothy 1, and it's being piloted by Beck. Not only is Beck destroying the city, but he's using Dorothy 1 to steal printing plates from the city's bureau building. As Dorothy 1 overpowers the military force, Roger calls on his own mech, a black and red Megaduce called The Big O. A giant mech battle ensues, property is destroyed, and more questions are asked than answered by the end of the episode's 22-minute runtime. So why should you watch The Big O? Why would you watch something from the early 2000s when there are plenty of newer anime series out there? So here's my answer to that. The answer is The Big O has substance. That's not to say that newer anime doesn't, but The Big O is a product of a time when an animation could be both entertaining and intellectual. Not only does The Big O make you think, but it asks a lot of important questions. For example, the show takes place in a world where people have lost their memories. So what would mankind do with a fresh start? Is a lust for power and wealth an inevitability, or are some people naturally driven towards dark intentions? If all knowledge of God and creation disappeared, would quote-unquote new gods rise to take that place? So the Big O speaks a great deal to both the virtues and shortcomings of human nature. In addition to the intellectual content, the Big O soundtrack is something nearly unparalleled in an animated series. I will say that Cowboy Bebop soundtrack is my absolute favorite, but Big O is a pretty close second. The smooth jazz and piano sounds we are treated to as Roger drives through the city of Paradigm truly pull you into the world, while at the same time bring you a sense of calm I have never felt while watching anything, literally ever. Episode 1 packs quite a bit into its 22-minute runtime. It does a great job at feeling complete at the end, but also leaving you with more questions you hope will get answered by the end of the season. So right now you can purchase the Big O Blu-ray set on Amazon or stream it today via most streaming outlets. I give the show episode 1 a 9 out of 10. I hope to review more episodes, so stay tuned for those. If you are a fan of pop culture and you're following Topicocalypse, please check out the Pop Culture Cosmos show. If you're a fan of Pop Culture Cosmos and you like just random topics on a podcast, please check out Topicocalypse. You'll be able to find this review in all the usual places. It'll be up on popculturecosmos.com and the Topicocalypse podcast pages and the Pop Culture Cosmos podcast pages. So I hope you enjoy. And that is my review. I will talk with you guys later.
So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
All right, thanks for tuning into the show. If you want to find back episodes of the show, you can find it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, podcast.com, Podbean, and other great podcasting outlets around the globe. And we're also now available on other great podcasting channels like the Pop Culture Cosmos. Big Dog, if they want to shoot us an email, where do they send it to?
Topicocalypse@gmail.com.
And purveyor of memes, Brett Cruz, if they want to find us on social media, where do they look?
At Topicocalypse at all social medias.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been a pleasure to serve you.